This is a pretty basic yoga practice that I do regularly, more intuitively than any sort of structure, starting with a smudge to get myself present and ready. Here, sitting in hero's pose on a couple of blocks, and then just starting to move through upper body, really exploring more than having a plan necessarily. You can see I'm moving my arm versus moving my head very much, and that's different. Some days I would move my head more than my arm, but it felt good today to do this. So I encourage you to just find what feels pretty good and acceptable in your body and just take a few minutes to sit and notice the upper body where we carry a lot of stress or maybe have less movement than the rest of the parts of the body throughout a normal day. And then twisting. If you're setting up to sit for an extended period of time, it's nice to stretch out the legs and also take a few twists. So you'll see I'm pedaling out through down dog, which involves a little twist in the lower body, a little leg movement. I'd been working my hamstrings a bunch the past few days, so this felt really great. And that's the point, is as you're moving around, really just starting to get more in tune to what's happening inside your own skin at that point, and then letting your movements be dictated by all of that. A little bit of plank, wake up the shoulders. Plank's such a great exercise for all of us to do on a daily basis. So just a few breaths. This video is sped up, I think, 3 times or 3.5 times. I find moving slow helps me become a little more present in my body and a moment to even explore the poses versus really just powering through them in a quick way. So you could take a practice similar to what I'm doing here, which was a bunch of moving lunges, always using blocks. I love using blocks. So a little back bend action as you bend the front knee, a little, length as in the legs as you straighten both legs. So just doing what feels really great. This is a movement I take pretty much every day. And then twisting in different ways, right? Right now my spine is pretty lifted. Then I'm leaning a little bit towards the leg. Then I'm leaning a lot towards the leg. I'm just really noticing when you change the angle of your spine to the back of your hips or the front of the hips in general, what does it feel like? And then a couple of opening, more space between the legs poses so that when I sit, it feels good for a while. Warrior 2 to reverse warrior. I think then a side angle lunge and a triangle. So just the basics. And if all these seem too complicated for you to even do, then you can sit in a chair and roll your ankles around and do all the upper body things that I did at the start of this video. So just make your movement something that feels helpful and isn't, too complicated. Because the idea is you're preparing the body to sit and you're preparing the mind to be still. So taking your time through whatever physical movements you want to take before you sit for meditation is the goal. So then I'm just doing all the same thing on the other side. So I sped up this video because it's not about you watching all the things that I was doing, but more to find little ideas. These are all pretty simple movements. Of course, you could put a blanket under your knee when you put your knee down. Make it comfortable. Go as slow as you need to. Give yourself a little bit of time, right? You deserve it. We all do so much in a day that just taking, I think this physical practice was like a 25 or a 30-minute practice for myself. Of course, I sped it up, but it was simple. It wasn't overdone. It wasn't complicated, right? So as you slow down everything, your body, your central nervous system, you're getting ready to sit for meditation. And that's the whole goal of this practice, is preparing to sit. So it's recommended to do something like this, some movement before your meditation, if sitting down just doesn't work for you, if you're just having one of those days where sitting down isn't working for you. Give yourself a few moments to move, to feel what's going on in your body. Even just lying down and moving your arms around and moving your legs around in the air is really helpful. And then you can make this as long as you want. I'm going to cut the voiceover here because you don't need to hear my commentary. Oh, but this is like my favorite seated twist. If you've never explored this situation of sitting on top of a couple of blocks, make it as high as you need it to be, move your feet far away from the blocks, and then use all that extra space to rotate. That feels really great. It's one of my favorites. So even if you just did this part of the practice, of the part where I'm sitting on these blocks and taking the twist and then a little bit of a malasana, you can't really, of course, see what I'm doing, but I'm pushing my elbows into my knees and my knees into my elbows to get a little inner leg action. And also doing that helped me feel a little more spacious in the upper body. So these are the reasons I ended up doing this practice. Again, it wasn't like planned. I didn't have any set movement I wanted to take, but I knew I was going to sit cross-legged on a bolster for a good 20 minutes. So this is always, of course, the feel-good pigeon, and I made sure to keep my spine more upright versus folding forward. It just felt like more of what I needed, and then I got the forward fold here. So I hope this is helpful to you. You could do all the things I ended up doing here. Elbows on blocks when I fold forward feels so great in the shoulders, so that's why I added the blocks. But explore, take some movements, get yourself ready to sit. All the while I had no music playing. I just wanted to, be in my own space. I noticed the little bit of movement from the air with a fan that was going. I noticed a little sound from that fan, my breath. Every once in a while, I think there was a cat meowing somewhere. Of course, that somewhere was probably from under the bed or something. And then when you're ready, when you've moved yourself enough, you'll see at the end of this, I lay on the floor and move my legs around, and I do a little bit of a supported shoulder stand with my feet on the wall. That's always a feel-good movement. So if you want to fast forward, that's the cool part of doing the videos on Instagram is you can fast forward. And then we'll see you next video for the meditation.